Hi everyone, good evening. I hope that you have a great dinner, and I believe everybody is keeping up very well. This is the second day for the FMCO, and I'm so glad for your information. I have three kids, and now it's actually the school holidays. So I mean, compared to previous week, it is more what do you call that? It's more manageable lah. But anyway, since this is the school holidays, it's actually this conversation, this real talk is coming really timely, whereby we are talking about dad's role to cultivate a healthy screen time habit. In fact, I believe when the first MCO was implemented, we are still very new. In fact, we call it the new norm. Everybody is hit by the pandemic. We don't really sure what it's coming ahead. But then lately, when the MCO was lifted, then again, it was once again implemented, I remember during the earlier stage, we talked about, we need to stay strong, stay calm, stay positive. So we have brilliant ideas, and a lot of people are actually sharing ideas and how, parents, when we are working at home, staying at home, what kind of activities we are actually, we can use it to have bonding time with our children. But then later, okay, MCO was lifted, school reopened, then okay, we tend to, try to get back to the old normal, but then it won't last long. Then the MCO came back again, okay? But now it is the MCO 3.0. I heard and I observed a lot of dads actually responded to me saying that, hey, I already ran out of ideas, what else can be done, and also through some research actually saying that, it's actually very difficult to keep kids occupied without screen time, especially when our kids are having classes online, it's screen time. When they are dismissed from their class, they're still on hold with their gadgets, or probably spend some time on TV, programs. So it's really not easy. So we felt that, it is good to have a conversation, especially if your kids are in teenage, they are exposed to social media. Before that, we do have a choice whether or not to let them expose to this, but because every kids are on gadget now, so sometimes it's really not easy to control and manage. And that's why we have this conversation tonight. And we are so glad that we invited the founder of MIASA, Puan Anita, Bakar. Yeah, let's welcome Puan Anita.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Joshua. How are you?
Yeah, good. Hey, it's good to have you tonight. So I guess we will have a good conversation with this in 30 minutes. But first of all, I think you are new to BDM platform. So I would really love to hear your story. And I know that MIASA, it's an NGO set up to what do you call that, to fight against mental illness. And I believe a lot of men, especially fathers, they are really in stressful situation. Yeah, tell us more about MIASA, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Joshua. MIASA is the Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association. We are a mental health advocacy and peer support group. And we're based in Petaling Jaya, actually. So we've been around since 2017, although we started works in 2016. So basically at MIASA, what we do is we strive as much as possible to promote the importance of mental health, and also to address the many misconceptions about mental health disorders. And a lot of our work is to support people that have mental health conditions through, relief support and also livelihood support. So we do a lot of programs, workshops, activities, and we also provide, many services via our platform. And also we have an activity center and also a crisis management center, which is called the Orchid Clubhouse. Yes. So our services, Joshua, could range from, peer support, family support, counseling, spiritual therapy, art therapy, We also provide supported employment. You know, a lot of people that are struggling, it's very challenging for them to sustain jobs because, you know, sometimes the environment is not conducive for their condition, or there's a lot of stigma, and then stigma leads to discrimination, you know, all these things. So as much as possible, we try to support them. So it is a platform, a safe space for those that are struggling. We call, you know, people with mental health condition as peers. So it is a safe space for peers to come, and we support them in whatever way possible. So that's, you know, basically a little bit of what we do, Joshua.
Great, great, great. I think this is really, you know, I'm really glad to hear, especially, I mean, in terms of BDM, we're also aware that because the pandemic situation has
Definitely.
more than a year, you know, and in fact, a lot of fathers, you know, not only frontliners, I personally believe fathers are frontliners, you know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
they are the providers. So, you know, especially in this round, you know, MCO 3.0, a lot of my friends in the Chamber of Commerce, all these associations, they are really struggling. And in fact, yeah, many lost their job. And in fact, some of these fathers, you know, they are really stressed out.
Definitely, Joshua. I think it's so important to have the conversation of men can also have a mental health condition. You know, as the leader of the family, right, Joshua, you know, you support when your wife has a problem, she talks to you. When your kids have problem, they talk to you, and your wife talks to you as well about their problems. But who supports you, right? So
Yeah.
the emotional stress, the psychological impact of fathers, you know, because dads, you know, we typically perceive men as, you know, being tough, right?
Yeah.
But we forget that you only need to be human to have a mental health condition.
Really, really, yeah, yeah. That's why I think it is also important, especially a lot of our young age, you know,
Yep.
teenagers are on social media, you know,
Yep.
and especially during the pandemic when they are having all their activities online, you
Yep.
know, and their research, you know, found out that social media can become almost addictive. Not only
Yep.
to, I'm not discriminating.
Definitely.
No, but sometimes there are research also showing that because the teens, their brains are still developing,
Yep.
it's not easy to, you know, control and also to discern some of these comments. You know, some of these comments are really hurtful, and you know, and young people, they are so concerned about their self-image. You know, when they're going through puberty, you know, a lot of things need to manage. But then, you know, one of these, it probably I'm not sure. Probably they are only joking, but then they take it too personal, you know.
Yep.
Then end up to be cyberbullying or some sort like that. So
Betul.
you know, and some of these issue could end up in suicidal as well.
Betul. I think it's such an important discussion to have. You know, in today's world, you can't separate kids or teens with social media.
Definitely.
Nearly every kid, every teen has a social media account, or, you know, use technology in some way, right? It could be being on social media, it could be going to, you know, different sites, but it could also mean, you know, playing games online, you know, but also connecting online with family and friends as well during this pandemic. So really the question is, how do we use it responsibly? How do we use it safely? And how do we make this experience for our kids, you know, meaningful? Right, Joshua? At the same time, it must be safe.
Yes, I want to cite a report from. In fact, it was released in 2014. It's from I got it from MCMC and the Ministry of Education. It's talking
Okay.
about school children on staying safe online. Okay, I
Mm.
read out. They say, you know, by research, they actually found out that 40% of our school children do not know how to protect themselves online.
Yep.
Then 3% of them are vulnerable to online risks due to minimal protective actions taken. Then two-thirds of the below 13 years take few protective steps when online, yet 52% of all children feel they are safe. They
Yep.
thought, okay, 70% of them are not concerned with the invasion of privacy, anonymity of the person they interact with. and 40% of them said online safety is important, yet take low levels of protection. In fact,
Betul.
it's pre-pandemic, and
Betul.
a lot of our kids are actually do not have access to all these social media or online. But now, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think 95 or 98, they are on gadget. And in fact, we heard a lot because my kids are on school. I always saw from my kids, the parents group. They complain. They say their kids actually while they are having lesson, actually surfing or online. So
Doing
I
other things.
know
Yeah.
that we parents, we are not prepared for this, and a lot of us, don't really aware about all these things. So perhaps
Definitely.
I'm aware that Anita also a mother of two.
Yes, I am. Yes. And
Yeah.
I don't know how old your kids are, Joshua, but mine are 10 and 12. So my son is going to be 11 actually this year. So, preteen, going to go to be a teenager soon. Although I feel that they're teenagers already. So there are a lot of challenges. And to be really brutally honest, Joshua, if it wasn't for the pandemic of COVID-19, where they had to study online, they wouldn't own a laptop and also a phone.
I totally agree with you, Anita.
Oh my God, high five.
Before that, we actually,
Ayo.
yourself and myself, we are on parenting, we are on NG.
Yes.
So we are kind of like on the forefront. We are aware of all these things. So
Yes.
I'm telling my kids, you're not having a social media account, or but then really it's because of the pandemic. We are forced to do it. Now recently my 9-year-old actually, my kids, my eldest is 13. Then my second boy is 9. Then my youngest daughter is 5. Even my using gadget, Then both of the youngest one actually keep asking me, Daddy, when can we have a phone number? I said, you don't need a phone number. He said, why Koko can have a phone number? I said, because he needs to, because he still need to attend physical class. Then sometimes I need to call him, But I said, both of you do not need a phone number.
Right. So that's the thing. And I think it's so proactive and also responsible of Instagram, that they came out with what it's called a parent guide to Instagram, Joshua. Have you seen it? It's really helpful.
Yeah, so I really appreciate the initiative taken by Instagram, whereby it's actually because to me, honestly, I do have an account, but I don't really know how to operate it.
Okay. Children are more savvy, right?
That's why.
Definitely. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of overview of this parent guide, because it was a collaboration between Instagram and also MIASA. So we helped out in the content part of it, because a lot of it was to mitigate some of the risks when it comes to using social media and how it impacts your mental well-being in that sense. So I think it's the guide. Currently we have it in English and also Malay. And it's available on MIASA's website currently. It's for free, although there's many pages, massive content, but it is at no cost, so you can just download it for free. It will be
for the audience. BDM also actually posted it on our Facebook page, so you can search on download it as well.
Okay, all right, that's great. Thank you so much. So I think there's a lot of things in the parent guide, Joshua, that can help parents to really navigate through the social media account to help their children to have a more meaningful experience using it, and also how to be safe. And I think what is so important, if you look at at the beginning or at the first step of it, is actually talking about privacy, because it was so interesting when you touched on that point where, when kids or teens go on social media, they don't really know, is it private? Can people see me? What do I do? They don't know what the first step is. So it's very, very important to always highlight to them, treat your online life like how you treat your offline life, right? So that means don't talk to strangers, don't connect to strangers, don't, visit places that you don't know. Recently my daughter was telling me, she came down, she felt she had this really, guilty look on her. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, Mom, I didn't know what I did. I said, what do you mean? I said, I clicked on a website that wasn't verified. and she didn't know what to do. She panicked, you see. So, and I didn't even think about it, Joshua. I mean, I didn't even think about educating her on it. I kind of assumed that if you don't know this website, you've never heard of it, because I always talk about reliable sources. I do talk to them about it, but I think she, it was intriguing, or she was curious about it, and she just clicked it, but then she panicked when it happened. So I think this is the conversation that we really need to have with our kids as well. What is safe and what is unsafe. Like how you wouldn't go to a stranger's house is how you shouldn't be clicking on, websites that you don't know of, right? So one of the things that we have on the guide is, when you want to open your account, is to make your account private. So this is the first thing that we talk about. And if they understand, being teens, that they have control about who they can see or who sees them, what can they, or how can they interact, what they post online, for example, will actually empower them to be themselves, right? And while at the same time remaining safe online. And I think a lot of times when we talk to teens and children, why, for example, right? So I ask them, why do you want to be online? What is the benefit of being online? In this pandemic of COVID-19, many of them says, it's a way for them to keep in touch with friends. It's a way for them to keep being connected. It makes them feel entertained. It makes them feel happy, right? Which is fine, because even as parents, Joshua, we're at home working online, kids are doing school online, and they need to do something else, right? They can play, yes, but they can't play all day. And there are already so much on on the internet anyway. So I find it now that I'm more flexible in that sense, when I'm able to be at home with them and see where they go to, what are they doing on the internet, what are the things that they serve, for example. So I think being parents at home, it's so important for us to be able to monitor and have that open conversation with our kids on it. So with the parent guide, Instagram has this step-by-step process in really, like I said, showing you what is available and how can you make that experience online. So for example, we have two-step authentication, for example, which I think that is so good, because it manages a lot of the security that happens online. Children can also protect on who can, who they can interact with. They can shut comments, for example, because a lot of times a lot of cyberbullying also happens, like you mentioned. So I think there are so many barriers that we can create as well to make it safer for our children. You can be online, but make sure you have all this, protected, for you to have that positive and beneficial experience online. So this is a little bit of what the guide provides for parents. Joshua.
These are all great sharing, especially I think in terms of BDM. I think we always emphasize that although this parent guide is for both dad,
Mom,
but then we also want to actually convey the message to fathers. In fact, because I think believing that mother as a natural nurturer, usually they are more concerned with kids. But I do want to remind dads out there, please, for your child's sake, for family's sake, please learn more about Instagram, okay? And also all these social media, at least, when we talk about boundaries, I'm really glad that Anita brought that up, talk about privacy. So sometimes, some teens could be rebellious and say, why that? I need to set that, my friend said it public or some sort, why couldn't I be like my friends, Probably, I think we shouldn't be, especially when they're in teenage, we really need to manage their emotion. And one of my boy is 13, so it's not easy to tell them, yes or no, can do and cannot do. Then I think we really need to partner with my wife, like my wife is a great partner. I'm usually the one saying, no, you cannot do that. When that's But then my wife will say, will pull me aside, say, you need to explain to him, okay? So
yes.
there are a lot of incidents and news out there whereby, teens, because they are abused, cyberbullied by on social media platform, and disaster happen, so we will read them out. And there are some documentary talking about, those creepy monster, spying on our kids, that sort of news. Then when we watch the documentary together with them, and we tell them, in fact, actually, our role as a parent, or especially for fathers, is to protect. Okay, that's why daddy and mommy will say no to some things. Okay, because we believe that you could, you could end up in danger. So when the time is right, when we felt that you are mature enough, we will release. I think this kind of conversation is very important. Yeah,
so important.
Mm.
Is very important, Joshua. I think it's so good that I first and foremost, thank you so much for creating this NGO. I think it's so crucial to hear from the dads. Dads don't talk enough. Dads are not in our conversations enough. So I'm really, really happy, when Instagram, asked me to come in, to have this chat with you. I was like, okay, what do I do? Because it's about dads here. But then again, because we're partners, right? Being a mom and a dad, we have to work together in ensuring that, it is a positive experience for our kids all in all. So I just wanted to share this part where with my kids, and I think it's standard for many people out there, where, my husband can say it once and they listen. I can say it 10 times and they can ignore me, right? So it is so important, dads, for those of you that are listening, your role is so crucial. Let me tell you, in setting the ground rules, regulating, teens' screen time, while at the same time managing their, virtual needs, especially during the MCO. So it's so important. And I think that, when you guys play this role well, and, like Joshua, that was a very important point, having open conversations with your children, making them, feel heard, right? Validated. So I think it's so interesting if, we can all sit down, create some ground rules, make them involved in making the ground rules as well. So let them pick one ground rule and we can compromise on it, right? I think this is so important, and it also creates, a trust between family members as well. So the rule will apply not just for the kids, but for the parents as well, right? Yes. So I think this is so interesting, having this conversation about dads. And of course, at the same time, other than, the screen time and managing all this, I think for dads, I really salute you guys, because, even though, most of the time dads are always at work, but when you come back, you still manage to spend quality time with children. And I think this is so important, because we need a mother figure, but we need that father figure together.
Yeah. I mean, in Better Dads, we always advocate that, actually fathers or mothers' role are unique, it's irreplaceable.
Very.
So we always advocate that, it's not about, this is your job, this is my job description, but we always believe in co-parenting, because especially today's scenario, today's situation, I believe a lot of parents are both working parents. So
yeah, many are.
Not like, old times whereby fathers go out and work and provide. So mother is the one who take care, of the kids. But now, both husband and wives are both working. So sometimes we have this argument where, hey, you should take care of this and I should take care of this. No, I believe that we believe in co-parenting. But I agree with you, Anita. Still father, although we are both working, but then I think I don't know whether this is politically correct, but I think father do have a leader's role. So
yes, definitely.
Sometimes I think men's are always, sometimes we just need to enjoy our own time, then we were being lazy, but I agree with you, Anita, because some of the things that we father as a dad, we need to set the ground and set the rules. It's really hard for only to set the rules, then but then
betul.
another piece of advice, I do advise some of these all of our fathers, to bond intentionally. Social media, or what do you call it?
Yes,
We could always use social media as a means to talk about, hey, why are you sharing this? Why are you liking this? I mean, it's a platform.
exactly. To trigger a conversation, right?
Yes, I do have fathers come up to me, when they don't usually bond. Then when the times they entering into teenage, they say, hey, I wanted to spend some time with my kids, but I previously I didn't do that. So I don't know what to talk about, So I think
Yeah, yeah.
probably to even start a conversation, but not too creepy. Then suddenly, hey, sit down, I want to talk to you about your social media. Then they say, hey, have I done something wrong? That
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. This is not to what do you call that?
Casually.
Yeah, I mean probably everybody is on to this BTS. Okay, BTS is not
Yeah,
Bandar.
yeah.
Okay, so previously I had no idea of all this Korean group, but
About
then
BTS,
yes, even my
K-pop. Yeah,
saying that daddy, my favorite band is BTS. I think BTS as well. I say because Coco, they all love it, so she also love it. So you can even simply start a conversation on, okay, what do you like about them? Oh, so you keep playing this song. What
yep,
is
yep.
just to start a bonding conversation? It is so easy if you have, if you've taken the initiative. I think you can start, communicating, bonding with your children.
Yeah, that's a very important point, Joshua. I also wanted to touch on that point that you mentioned earlier on cyberbullying. I think this is something so important, when you are in that space, because a lot of kids, a lot of teens, when they are on social media, they don't realize the impact of cyberbullying.
Yes,
It can be very, very overwhelming. It can be very hurtful. And if we don't have the conversation or this conversation with our kids, our teens, on how to manage the impact of cyberbullying, it can lead to a mental health issue.
yes,
Uh,
definitely.
so so cyberbullying is really a big thing that needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed, and also about social comparisons, right? Joshua, we all know this. A lot of people put up good things on social media, and then we tend to compare. And then when you compare, then it threats your self-esteem as well. So there are a lot of risks as well on social media. So as parents, we need to be that guide to help them. And I think one of the good features that Instagram has, which we talk about on the parents guide as well, is on reporting. So
Mm,
if there are things like this that are happening, kids or teens can actually report this, and please do report,
mm,
because if not, it will continue and other people will become victims as well.
true.
And yes, and the person that is cyberbullying as well needs help. So their parents need to know as well. Again, so it is on both sides. And again, they're only children. They're underage. So we as parents need to take that role, that proactive role in correcting them and guiding them. Joshua.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I wish to respond on the cyberbullying as well. And
Yes.
sometimes when the encouragement and doesn't come from parents, so the self-esteem is low. In fact,
Yeah.
the role of a father, in fact, your encouragement, your compliment is so important to your child, and because it
Yes.
their value. So sometimes I always advise to a lot of fathers, you should, encourage your kids every day, something like, kid, I love you, and you are good at what you do, and I'm very proud of you. If they
Yep.
have enough confirmation and assurance from the parents, they don't need to seek outside attention to build their value. Sometimes
Very
why
on point.
comparison? Why is this self-esteem thing? It's because they are seeking acknowledgement from the outside, which
Definitely.
even from parents or from dad, especially. Yeah.
Yep. And Joshua, based on the National Health and Morbidity Survey 2019, which is the most recent one,
Yeah.
424,000 children in Malaysia were found to have mental health problems.
Yes, I saw that.
That's not a small number, Joshua. That's a big number. And we're looking at, those between the ages of 10 to 15 years old, and more prevalent amongst girls. And there are of course many factors that contribute to this, but a bulk of it, about 42.9%, are peer problems. So this is why this discussion is also very important. So even them being on social media again, right? Because a lot of their friends within their own space are all peers, right? And then one of the contributing factors are also peers themselves. So this is something that we really need to take into account, to really understand. And the figures are 1 in 5 are depressed, 2 in 5 are anxious, and 1 in 10 are stressed.
Yeah, this is really a very worrying figure. Very number. I used to study and work in Singapore. During time, I took O levels in Singapore. As a Malaysian, I never understand why people spend so much time, studying during the exam periods. They occupy all the fast food center and airport and food courts. Being a Malaysian, we could never understand that.
Right.
Then, after a few decades, we are now seeing kids, commit suicide, depressed because of exam, because of all these things. So wow. And one of these research that BDM found was actually when, in fact, active fathering could prevent this. A lot of child sense of security, self-esteem, self-image is actually contributed by active fathering. Okay, so fathers, you are very important, in spite of, managing their social media, but I think, you should spend enough time, enough bonding time to nurture your children, to know of your children, know their what they are like, I mean, what do they fear, okay, what they like or dislike, and get to know more of your children.
Yeah, definitely. We need to be present parents.
Yeah.
It's very important. I think one of the things, Joshua, if I can share, what we have been practicing in our family, I only have 2 kids, but my husband and I, we do circle time. So circle time is like a safe space where, how kids are, right? So we tell them, okay, this is a circle where you can tell us anything. So we're not going to be angry. We're not going to judge you. It's because the first thing that comes to their mind, they're going to trick us. They're trying to trick us. They want to like korek rahsia kind of thing, right? And when we do this, this is when we get to hear more things from them. They feel it's a safe space, even though we're the parents, but it empowers them to also share and feel heard. And it also, we get to spend that quality time. And then at the end, everyone feels good about it. So I think this is one of the things that schools should be practicing as well, doing it, especially during the pandemic of COVID-19, before you start class, having that conversation of, how is everyone doing? Because if one person shares it, maybe the other person will feel relief that, okay, I'm not the only person struggling. My friend is also struggling as well. So they feel validated, they feel heard.
Yeah. Wow, this is a great piece of sharing. Yeah, I think perhaps, in fact, since everybody is at home, we should practice this. I know that if some of our fathers, you don't usually do this, it feel a little bit awkward in the first.
Exactly, I know that.
And I think we should start. If you are a religious person, perhaps every even Prime Minister is urging every one of us to pray within our own faith for the pandemic situation.
Yes.
Perhaps, you can start even practicing. Besides praying for the country and pandemic, okay, is there anything you wish to pray for? Then
yes,
we could share also their problem. It's another.
Betul.
Doing your circle time. So I really urge parents out there, start this approach to engaging your children. Yeah.
It's so interesting, Joshua, that during this whole pandemic, we now learn creative ways.
Yeah.
We're all stuck together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to think of ways to make everyone entertained, everyone occupied, but then at the same time, it is a warm and positive and meaningful experience for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, though we couldn't say that, you know, pandemic is it's good, you know, but in a
Yep,
sense, in terms of family, I do feel that, you know, when we are stuck together, at least, you know, we really spend quality time,
definitely.
okay.
I totally agree.
Those, you know, I do have a father from our fathering group, one of our fathering group, you know,
Uh-huh.
both of them, both of the husband and wife are doctors. I remember him sharing. He said, his son telling him, he said, "Daddy, I never seen you, you know, being at home for such a long time." You know, it's surprised him. But then he said, "Yeah, yeah," because Daddy cannot go to work, ma. But then it actually stuck in his mind, saying that, you know, well, perhaps I don't really spend enough time together with my children. You know.
Definitely, definitely. I think you know, sometimes I think to myself, maybe this is God's way of telling us we're not spending enough time with our kids. You know, if not, you know, you guys are going to just go to work, come back, you know, eat, sleep kind of thing. So
So,
now you got to do it. You know, this is your time to really play your role as that parent.
yeah, I think it is so important, especially, you know, we have a lot of stress out there, you know,
Definitely.
everyone is stressed, is on stress. So I think one of the good thing or positive thing about pandemic is that we as family really need to stick together and to
Yes.
support each other and you know, really spend good quality time together, knowing each other. Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
so interesting that I'm reading here, Wirin Raja Adam saying, I'm a mother of three and I can so totally relate. My kids were only allowed screen time during weekend pre-pandemic. Now it has become their whole life.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, so Viren Raja Adam also asking, is it the same person? Um, how frequent do you recommend? Yeah, perhaps Anita could help answer this. Having circle time, and how do you encourage teens, especially, to open up during circle time?
Okay, I think this is such an interesting question. So the reason why I introduced Circle Time is because at MIASA we have been doing it for 5 years already. And we not only have it for adults, we also started doing it for teens a couple of years ago. And I find it very helpful because the first thing that happens is for them to know that anything that is being discussed in Circle Time stays in Circle Time. Okay, so it is highly private and confidential in that sense. So once they know that it's confidential and once they know it's safe, then it empowers them to really share about it. So
Yeah.
so for the first time, just kind of keep it casual. And as parents, maybe try to share a secret with them. So for example, saying things like, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I didn't tell my mom about, you know, eating satay in the car when we went out to buy it. You know, my mom said don't eat it, and you know, I silently, you know, opened the plastic, and you know, that kind of thing. Children, teens like that a lot. So
Yeah.
if we can start by sharing our difficult story first, I think it empowers them to then feel brave to share their story as well, right? Okay, how often should we do circle time? I think if you do it once a week, once in 2 weeks, I think that would be really great. Like you can say, okay, we will do circle time every Friday after dinner, for example. So it is something that kids or teens can look forward to. And then during the week, they will kind of think about, you know, what they would like to share. And it also gives them a place for them to express themselves and share their problems for the week or share their accomplishments for the week.
Yeah.
And then if they have any questions, they can also ask us because again, it's a safe space, a non-judgmental
Yeah.
space, right? So they can actually ask and say what is. So they will see it as an opportunity during that 1 or 1.5 hours to actually get everything out of their chest, for example. So I think it is very empowering. Empowering. Do try it out and see how it goes. I think it can do a great benefit.
Yeah, I do need to urge and remind the parents that when we say we are not, I mean, it is not, we do not judge them and we cannot get mad. You must keep your promise. If not,
Oh
they
yeah,
say,
definitely. Please do. Please do. Yes. And when we say it's private and confidential, it must be private and confidential.
Yeah, please, parents, don't use it to talk to them. Then later, one of their aunties or uncle come out, hey,
Exactly.
your mommy tell me something. Please don't do this. Especially
Betul.
yeah.
Yeah. And you know, Joshua, it's interesting because I say the same thing to them as well. I said, if I tell you this, you can't tell my mom, you can't tell your grandma about it. So they're like, oh, okay, we promise we won't do it. So see how it works? You
Yeah,
trust them, they trust you, kind of thing. Yep.
yeah. It's besides bonding, also building trust.
Yes, which
Yeah,
is so important because this is when they don't feel they can trust you, when they don't feel safe, this is why they keep it to themselves.
yeah. Let me check if there is another question coming in. Yeah, so all of our audience are good.
Good to go.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's a great session. Hopefully, we
Oh,
can do this real talk, from time to time, especially, I mean, in terms of BDM. I think besides, social media, I believe that we have a lot of insight, especially when Anita mentioned the 400,000.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
definitely. Yeah, and we really wanted to have this conversation of real talk because I think it was in November last year, Joshua,
oh,
Instagram initiated this real talk campaign because we really wanted to normalize this conversation around mental health amongst the youth.
yeah,
And having this conversation where parents play that role to really destigmatize mental well-being concerns because there's so much stigma, so much shame attached to mental health disorders that people don't really open up and want to talk about it. And if we know about statistics, half of all mental health condition begins at the age of 14, Joshua.
wow.
So
Mm.
this is why this conversation is so important.
Yeah. It's really saddening and depressing. While if the kids feel so alone that they even couldn't express it to their parents, it's so heartbreaking.
It is. And I can tell you, being MIASA, because we have a high helpline, we have our crisis team that works 7 days a week, that during this third MCO, we realized that a lot of teens have been calling to our helplines, 14 years old, 15, 16, 17, having all these issues, Joshua. And can you imagine, for us there is a limitation because we need parental consent, right? So the only thing that we can do is listen at this point of time and try to encourage them to talk to their parents, or if not, let their parents contact us. And one of the other efforts that we're doing as well, just to share, Joshua, so that other people can benefit as well, is we're doing a mental health 101 workshop for parents,
Wow.
June 17th to 19th, so that because we ran a survey that also where kids, adolescents, and college students said that some of the things that they wanted their parents to know is that they're stressed out, that mental health struggles are real, that they want their parents to hear them out. So because of this survey, this was how we were encouraged to do this mental health 101 workshop. So we will be showing the Instagram parental guide as well during this workshop, as a part of this a module that we will be talking about as well. Yep.
Yeah, well, looking forward for our next collaboration. Perhaps I think we should continue with this good work, at least on BDM, behalf of BDM. I think we should actually create some workshops or real talk for some parents.
Definitely.
I think a lot of parents are just it's not that they do not concern, but I think they are not aware and
Yes.
even do not know the skill or the ways to engage their
Yep.
children. They thought
Right. And
attention seeking.
right, exactly.
So I mean, when I heard that all these teenage kids calling, it's really heartbreaking. Mm.
It is. So hopefully we can all do more because, when we lack the knowledge, this is where, things can't improve. So hopefully, with all these workshops, with this, conversation that we're having today, Joshua, it helps to normalize this discussion surrounding mental health, the importance of, everything else, be it social media, be it, cyberbullying, trauma. There's such a big conversation that really we need to be talking about with our children.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great session, and I really looking forward that we could do this, consistently, yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, and to all the audience out there, I mean, the video will be staying on our page, and you can still, comment, or if you think this is helpful to some other parents or even kids, you could, feel free to share the link, and also to your own page, or share to your friend. So by ending this, I would like to conclude that it's just some what do you call that, acronyms that I thought that it could be helpful for the parents out there. I call it the ABCDE of fathering, or even you could use it as parents. I say A, agile to adjust. I think everybody needs adjustment nowadays. It is.
Yes.
Yeah, the new norm is there's always change.
Yep.
We are not aware when it is the MCO is lifted, or when is the next MCO be implemented. Touch wood. But anyway,
Yep, definitely.
I think we really need to learn, to adjust, and secondly, I think great sharing from Anita. We really need to bond intentionally.
Yes.
Need to really be intention in everything, even design some house chores routine, discuss on social media, Instagram, create some topic out of there, together with the children, and then see,
Definitely.
Consistent in parenting, like what probably C is also circle time, tonight I grabbed some.
Oh, you pandai, eh? Okay.
Consistent circle time, I think it would be great, in terms of your relationship with your children. Then
Yes.
Demonstrate as a role model, like what Anita mentioned.
Definitely.
If you limit their screen time, you as a parent or as a father, you also need to limit your screen time. Okay.
Yep.
Then, finally, equipped to cope with the new norm. And I really wish to promote, like what Anita mentioned earlier. Is it June 17 to 19, right?
Correct.
The workshop. So perhaps Anita could, before closing, you could share the details, or is there a sign up or registration needed?
Yes.
Probably,
Yes.
Go to your Facebook page or some sort of, yeah, please announce. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so it's called the Mental Health 101 workshop, and it will run from June 17th to 19th. You can register via our social media. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter, MIASA.Malaysia. So you can just register there, just click on the link, and we are also providing free seats, 10 ringgit, sorry, commitment fee of 10 ringgit only for the B40 group, Joshua. So there are 18 seats available at 10 ringgit. And we try as much as possible to subsidize, because we want the B40s to be able to access this kind of workshop and information as well, Joshua. So I hope you guys can join us. We are limiting it probably to about 50 seats only this time around.
Okay.
So yeah, you can go ahead and
I also encourage all the fathers in our
yes.
BDM community, please do take part. And also some of these fathers, if I heard, Anita is doing this initiative to support the B40 group, please donate, okay?
Yes.
You can, I mean, 10 ringgit can't even buy you a chicken rice, please, if 10 ringgit can change a life, change a family, please do something, okay? So yeah, again, thank you for this session, Anita. It's really great.
Thank you.
Okay, so for all the audience out there, so we are concluding this session. So hope to see you again. Okay, good night.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. Take care. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, Anita.
Bye-bye.